Welcome back, guys, or if you're new to my channel, this is Automotive Anonymous, and I'm currently driving a 700 horsepower F-150. These things are fast. It lost traction going into that next gear, and these big 35s, they actually slow it down quite a bit, but it's still very quick, as you're gonna see on 0 to 60 GPS in just a minute. But if you haven't driven a 14th generation F-150 from 2021 to 2024, it's actually a really nice ride. Very smooth, good visibility, huge interior volume. So you can really pack a lot of people, you can pack a lot of stuff in this one. And if you're wondering, well, this is more of an impromptu video. I do have a full review on this one if you guys want to see that. That's already been out for a little while. But just driving a supercharged Coyote 5-liter F-150 is such a joy that I just honestly didn't want to give it back quite yet. These are comfortable trucks. There's no surprise why 1 million people buy these between, you know, Canada, the US, and Mexico every year. They're assembled in Michigan and Missouri, so they're homegrown. They have fantastic visibility, a lot of safety features. These modern trucks have seriously gotten so much more capable than those of the past. But even with, you know, the Fox suspension that this has and 35-inch BFGs, it still has a payload capacity of 1,350 pounds. So you tell me, between the passengers and your stuff, comment below who or what you're gonna carry in your F-150. But again, not on throttle, it's composed. But if I do give it a little bit of gas, half throttle maybe, that speedo just climbs. And when you're this high off the ground, you really don't feel how fast you're going until you look down at what speed you're actually accumulating and, you know, increasing to. But right now I do have it in sport mode, which is the most aggressive mode. It was noticeably a bit slower in normal driving mode. And if you put in eco mode, if you want more than probably 14 mpg, keep it in eco mode. But thankfully for 2024, these now have a 36-gallon gas tank. So you can actually go, even at 14 mpg, you can still go 500 miles before you have to stop and fill up. So Ford has basically thought of everything. This is just an XLT. It's actually the Apex package, so it is a pretty pricey truck, but still, for being comparable to the Raptor R in performance and, you know, a lot of the off-road capability, it still is over 20 grand cheaper than a Raptor R. So there's a place for it. This has 2-wheel drive, 4 high, 4 low. It has physical buttons and controls. It has the Roush sticker right there, let you know what you're looking at. And, you know, the big display, it has the cameras that are everywhere. Quality is pretty good. I love that it takes up the full screen. I think Ford did a really good job with that. The rear view mirror, though, also does a really good job because these aren't that big of cabs compared to the overall truck. Like, it's pretty direct. You can see straight through the back and the seat. Even with the headrests up, they really don't take up a whole lot of space down there. So can't complain too much about that. But just cruising, we need to go get some gas for this one, but it's still 8.1 miles per gallon. I actually reset this when I first took it out, and a lot of time has been spent idling, as well as, you know, a few accelerations. But overall, this is really fun. In fact, let's do the 0 to 60 real quick so you can see how fast that is. 0 to 60 in the Roush Supercharged F-150. I'm in sport mode, traction controls off. I'll do a 4 high auto launch with a brake rev, and we'll see what it can do. But keep in mind, density altitude's 5,600 feet. So even though this is supercharged, it's still gonna be down on power, probably about 7 or 8% at least. And true 0 to 60 came in at 5.14 seconds. Pretty impressive for the size of this truck. And my private road is not a sticky drag strip. We're not at sea level on a cold day. So given all those factors, this was actually a really impressive run. And it gets right up to speed. So you just saw maybe half throttle. Sounds good. Not too bad at 5.1, given the fact that my private road is no better than these type of roads. It's not sticky, it's not prepped, and it's actually a pretty hot day out today in the 70s, and we're basically over a mile above sea level. So what do you expect for a big, heavy-breathed truck? You know, this would run probably a full second faster at sea level. I also quoted you the real time, not without rollout like magazines like to rate stuff. That's kind of cheating, and that time you can see at the bottom of the graph, it's a few tenths of a second faster. But for being as capable as this is, for still being able to, if I would finally get off the gas pedal, you know, let it get 15 miles per gallon. It's actually really nice. It's really composed, and you know, it's a Ford truck. It's expected to last a long time, and it has basically a supercar power level. 705 horsepower at 6,500 RPM is nothing to gawk at. 635 pound-feet of torque, similar. The Coyotes don't make insane torque, but they do make insane horsepower, and they literally rev for days. The red line on this is in the upper 6,000 ballpark. Just imagine this truck 10, 15 years ago. 700 horsepower, factory 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty. Who would have thought? But just driving it around as I kind of start to make my way back to where I need to drop it off for the day, it's really a fun truck. It has all the amenities you'd want. The base XLT that this is, before any rebates and discounts you can probably get, started at about 67 after destination, and it's pretty loaded at that. That is more than the average new car, and when you add the Apex package and the Whipple Supercharger, you know, you're gonna be closer to double what the average car costs. But it's awesome. It idles at 500 RPM. It's smooth, it's composed. And even after driving a little bit more reasonably the last mile, we're now up to about 14 miles per gallon. But look how big this thing is. I'm looking down on other vehicles like they don't even exist. That's definitely not true, but they're definitely a lot smaller when you're looking down at this versus something at level. And I'll be quiet for just a moment so you can hopefully hear just a little bit of supercharger whine before we're too far into town and I can't let you hear that any longer. Yeah, just a little bit of gas, nothing too drastic. But keep in mind, 705 horsepower, that's just the starting point. Put a more aggressive tune on this, do some headers, do a smaller pulley, maybe do, you know, an E85 conversion, and I wouldn't be surprised if you can pull 850 horse out of this engine. We know that the Coyotes do insane power levels in other platforms like the Mustang. Heck, the new Whipple Charge 2024 Mustangs are putting down almost 800 wheel horsepower on the Stage 2 kit. That's literally absurd, but still very impressive. And anyways, guys, I want to know your thoughts. If you like the F-150, if you've owned one, if you've been one of the millions and millions, over 40 million people who have owned one over time, comment below, share your spec and your year and how your experience has been with it. If you're considering one, either a Roush or the Ford Performance, the Whipple, Magnuson, anything else, I'm just curious, what are you considering and why are you potentially going to choose that? If you want to see the full review of this, you can find that on my channel too. This has been a really fun truck to drive for the day. I'm gonna maybe show you if there's any more footage I can that you guys might want to see with this one. Otherwise, this was just a short, longer driving impressions review. And overall, it drives like a big truck, but because it has Fox suspension, it drives a lot better than an average lifted truck with the hockey puck lift and some nonsense parts. This is quality. This is the Apex F-150. And if you're interested in this one, you can find it at the Goody Motor Group. They have a number of dealerships, mostly in southern Idaho, so I'll link it below if you're interested. It's maybe already sold by the time this video comes out. I don't exactly know when this one will be released, but if you guys want to watch more stuff like this, more supercharged V8s, more F-150s, just let me know in the comments and I'll go find that stuff for you. Otherwise, the more legit official review you can find on my channel as well. And until next time, guys, I wish you the absolute best. Take care. See ya. Last thoughts, just driving through town. Yeah, it really feels like a big truck. I was just next to a Silverado a minute ago and they were about a foot shorter than I am. All these vehicles, even that basic F-150 right there, they just feel tiny when you're in this, but it's seriously so smooth. I accidentally hit some potholes on the way back and you could barely even tell that there was a thing. But anyways, it rides well. You should definitely test drive one for yourself if you're interested. But before dropping it off, I do want to show you how big this truck is compared to regular vehicles like that 4Runner or these one-story houses over here. Feels like the roofs just aren't that much higher than my head in this truck. Or these two-story houses right here. This is really a big vehicle and it's looking down on a lot of other vehicles. But thankfully, other than the fenders, it's not that much wider than regular F-150s. So it still handles the road quite well. It's not nearly as convenient as driving a mid-sized truck like a Colorado, Ranger, or Tacoma, but it still does a really good job. And, you know, it's going to fit in a lot of people's driveways, but it's not going to fit in very many garages. So keep that in mind if you're considering one of these. Even look at that old Yukon XL right there. Look at how little that thing looks in comparison to this. Anyways, guys, see ya.